you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. So grateful to be here with you all. It is another beautiful day in paradise. It is Friday, fabulous Friday as I record. Hope you guys are all making the most of whatever time and space you happen to be in at this moment as you hear this broadcast. Let's see. Where are we going to start? Well, we'll start where we normally start. I won't switch it up too much on you. I know you guys are creatures of habit. Aren't we all creatures of habit? Although it's nice to break those habits when they're not good ones, and it's, you know, great to keep them when they're ones that are serving us in our next, in the vision of who and what we want to be and become. And it's interesting to observe all those habits, right? Just take a look at yourself. What am I doing daily? What can I do differently? They talk about insanity, you know, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you are someone out there listening happens to be frustrated with the lack of change, look at your habits. Are you doing anything differently? What are you doing to mix it up? You know, even thinking about going to the gym and that sort of thing. I remember back in college, I lifted weights I was like the really scrawny guy with like guys who could bench press 400 pounds. Some of my friends were huge and, you know, so they knew what they were doing. And I remember them, you know, as they were teaching me, it's like, look, as you get going, you've got to mix things up. You can't continue on the same, you know, I got into a very regular routine for a while and then it's like, okay, switch it up, mix it up. Your muscles get used to it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lesson and a concept that makes sense across the board. If you're not liking, or there's something that you're not enjoying, or there's something that isn't working for you, or your energy is low, what are you eating? What is a habit? How can you mix it up? How can you switch things up? And every time you switch things up, you switch the energy flow up, right? Right. You switch the energy up, new energy comes in, new experiences come in, new feelings come in, new emotions come in. You're the one with the power always. All right. Well, let's see. Got on a little tangent there. Someone out there must have needed that one. Maybe me. Maybe all of us. Who knows? So this new review is by We Bike for Fun, and it says, you get what you need when you need it. I was listening to episode 440 and I accidentally pushed the wrong button, and suddenly episode 438 played that I had already heard. It just so happened that I'd been struggling with a particular relationship and was worried about the things that could go wrong, and I was nicely reminded to focus on what I want, not what I fear. Funny how the universe gives you what you need when you need it. Keep up the great work you are doing. I love this. Yeah, this is, this sort of thing seems to happen a lot with people, random episodes. And of course, I've told you guys I am in the works, intending to have a random episode generator for you guys so we can have a little gamification with the show now that we have, almost 450 episodes. So, which, by the way, you guys notice the episode that I just released with my good friend Christopher David Jackson, who I also did first Facebook live stream with. He talked a lot about Christ consciousness and his connection to Christ consciousness and all those things. And I noticed as we put that episode out, it was episode 444. Well, 444 is the angelic frequency. And you guys have probably heard me tell the story of 444 before, and some of my experiences with that number and, the angelic realm, so to speak. So I thought that was really cool. Also, I had just recorded next week's episode, funny enough, as I think about this, how interesting, actually. Episode 445 is going to be an angel channeler. So, wow, how interesting. Like, it didn't land on 444. The person who's resonating very strongly and has a lot of synchronicity around Christ consciousness did. And then you have the angelic, maybe that was the introduction. He was the introduction to the 444 frequency, right? And then now with 445, here it comes in. So what a trip. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you, We Bike for Fun, for taking the time to review. Certainly appreciate it. And if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. Of course, you can find us on all the platforms, SoundCloud, Google Play, all the main, the big apps out there, podcast apps and whatnot. Anywhere that you can review, please do so. And even more importantly, and more appreciated, I would be if you would tell your friends, family, anyone you think would benefit from hearing the show. Connecting with the energy of the show. Certainly that is the whole intent, right? Is to help wake up and remind. I just set up my personal Instagram for the first time. Well, I had one for a long time, but I haven't done anything with it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start, from time to time posting on here. And I just set the little bio and I'm like, Chief Waker Upperer and Reminder at the Positive Head Podcast for my little bio. So if you know anyone who needs wake up and reminding, then please tell them about the show. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've already been talking about things, but what else are we going to talk about? Wow, wasn't that a cool chapter from Oneness that I read on the last episode? Such an amazing book. I love it. It gave me chills at one point talking about connecting with the other parts of self that are out there in other dimensions, other realities, parallel realities, alternate realities that are missing me, right? A fragment of them. I am a fragment of them. They're a fragment of me. As we come back together and start viewing through each other's, perspectives as we, ascend, and then you sort of have different levels of reflection. There's these other me's in some sense that are unique, but then there's you're another me and I'm another you from another sort of maybe vantage point, right? Another track, if you will. And it made me think of a quote that I just saw. I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. And I love that. It's such a beautiful, amazing, powerful truth. I mean, as you understand, this is how it's working. This is how things are going. This is how we're ascending, reconnecting with other parts of ourself. I always say everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself, right? And as we do that, as we continue to do that on multiple levels and multiple ways, here in this physical dimension, we're doing that same thing with each other. We're also doing it energetically with other parts of self that we don't physically see. And if you can just have that as a baseline understanding as you approach anyone, instead of competition, collaboration on all levels, always, being an entrepreneur. I've had a lot of times in the past, I can look back and think about being paranoid of someone stealing my idea. I've always had more ideas than I have money or time. And, having, some what I feel is a great idea and something I want to do. And then, what if someone takes it? And really that energy, I don't feel it anymore the same way. It's like, what's for you will always be for you. I can't remember if I read this quote that I saw the other day that I absolutely loved. It says, what's for me will always be for me. That's why I relax. I don't need to compete or seek validation. What's for me is always for me. So when you can start approaching people from that perspective in that way, it is super, super it's a relief, right? You don't have to worry about someone stealing something from you, taking something from you, which for you will always be for you. You don't need to manipulate or compete or feel threatened. It's the opposite. Oh, here's another part of me. How can I benefit? How can I serve? How are they going to serve me? This is going to be fun to explore. It's an abundance mentality as opposed to a fear-based mentality. And what a difference that makes. And speaking of that anxiety that we all get and have from time to time, there's so many things, I think back to a long time ago at a festival, many years ago, having the realization, the whole festival I was talking about, just easing the tension, baby. Have you guys seen Happy Gilmore where, what's Chubbs, I think his name is trying to teach Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore, how to golf, and he comes up behind him and he's just like trying to help him putt, and just easing the tension, baby. Anyway, you got to see it. If you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And so, that's what we're here to do, easing the tension. How do we ease the tension? Whenever we're bumping up against another, whenever we're doing anything, how do you stop the trying so much and just relax into it, flow into it? Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Talkspace. When it comes to therapy, getting the help you need has never been so simple. Talkspace is like having a therapist in your pocket because you're able to access them from the comfort of your device via audio, video, or text 24/7. Talkspace is the #1 online therapy platform and has thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties. I believe it is important, if you're struggling, to realize it's okay to seek therapy. And this is the simplest way I know of to do it. And it's for a fraction of the cost of in-house therapy. Once you join, you can speak with someone that same day. You'll set goals with your therapist and they hold you accountable and make sure you're really progressing. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com. Make sure to use the code POSITIVE to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's positive at Talkspace.com. And this kind of leads well into an article that I want to read today. It came up from my friends over at IdeaPod. They've been posting a lot of Osho stuff lately. And this one I really liked. I hadn't seen him talk about this before, or if I have many years ago, I read a lot of his stuff years and years ago. I didn't remember it. So this article, it's a pretty short read here, says Osho reveals the trick to meditation and why most of us get it wrong. And it is definitely in line with sort of what we've been talking about here so far. I'll go ahead and read. Have you ever meditated before? If you have, you probably began by repeating a mantra or focusing on your breath. While these meditation practices are commonly taught in the Western world, it's not true meditation according to spiritual guru Osho. In fact, he says that these practices are affecting our ability to achieve true peace and enlightenment. Many people approached Osho and asked him how to meditate. However, he says, you don't need to ask this question. Here's why. When people come to me and they ask how to meditate, I tell them there's no need to ask how to meditate. Just ask how to remain unoccupied. Meditation happens spontaneously. Just ask how to remain unoccupied. That's all. That's the whole trick of meditation, how to remain unoccupied. Then you cannot do anything. The meditation will flower. Osho says that by making meditation a doing activity, like focusing on the breath, you're finding another excuse to simply remain outside of yourself. When you're not doing anything, the energy moves toward the center. It settles down toward the center. When you are doing something, the energy moves out. Doing is a way of moving out. Non-doing is a way of moving in. Occupation is an escape. You can read the Bible. You can make it an occupation. There's no difference between religious occupation and secular occupation. All occupations are occupations, and they help you to cling outside your being. They are excuses to remain outside. Man is ignorant and blind, and he wants to remain ignorant and blind because to come inwards looks like entering a chaos. And it is so. Inside you, you have created a chaos. You have to encounter it and go through it. Courage is needed. Courage to be oneself and courage to move inwards. I've not come across a greater courage than that, the courage to be meditative. So, what is true meditation? According to Osho, true meditation is simply doing nothing, accepting yourself, and being in relaxed state of consciousness. Meditation is just being delighted in your own presence. Meditation is a delight in your own being. It is very simple, a totally relaxed state of consciousness where you are not doing anything. The moment doing enters, you become tense. Anxiety enters immediately. How to do, what to do, how to succeed, how not to fail. You have already moved into the future. If you are contemplating, what can you contemplate? How can you contemplate the unknown? How can you contemplate the unknowable? You can contemplate only the known. You can chew it again and again, but it is the known. If you know something about Jesus, you can think again and again. If you know something about Krishna, you can think again and again. You can go on modifying, changing, decorating, but it is not going to lead you towards the unknown, and God is the unknown. Meditation is just to be, not doing anything. No action, no thought, no emotion. You just are, and it is a sheer delight. From where does this delight come when you are not doing anything? It comes from nowhere, or it comes from everywhere. It is uncaused because the existence is made of the stuff called joy. It needs no cause, no reason. If you're unhappy, you have a reason to be unhappy. If you're happy, you're simply happy. There is no reason for it. Your mind tries to find a reason because it cannot believe in the uncaused, because it cannot control the uncaused. With the uncaused, the mind simply becomes impotent. So the mind goes on finding some reason or other. But I would like to tell you that whenever you are happy for no reason at all. Whenever you are unhappy, you have some reason to be unhappy because happiness is just the stuff you are made of. It is your very being. It is your innermost core. Joy is your innermost core. So how are we supposed to meditate? Osho says that to practice meditation, you need to practice being a watcher of the mind. Watch your mind. Don't do anything. No repetition of mantra, no repetition of the name of God. Just watch whatever the mind is doing. Don't disturb it. Don't prevent it. Don't repress it. Don't do anything at all on your part. You just be a watcher, and the miracle of watching is meditation. As you watch, slowly mind becomes empty of thoughts, but you are not falling asleep. You are becoming more alert, more aware. As the mind becomes completely empty, your whole energy becomes a flame of awakening. This flame is the result of meditation. So you can say meditation is another name of watching, witnessing, observing, without any judgment, without any evaluation. Just by watching, you immediately get out of the mind. I love this, and it's such a great extension of what we were talking about. And of course, we've been talking about meditation here in the last week or two, and it's something that I've talked about a lot on the show. It's never come really easy to me because of my sort of hyper nature, if you will. My parents said when I was very small, 2 years old, 3 years old, my dad will say, yeah, and I remember I used to try and hold you. And it was like, no. I got somewhere to go, things to do, people to see. I've always been such a doer. And of course, my mind going a million miles a minute. So meditation's always been somewhat intimidating to me for that fact, because I'll sit down to try and empty my mind and focus on, whatever mantra or what have you. And I get frustrated because, I struggle to do it. And then, 10 other things pop up that I want to go do, or I need to do, or might do, or should do. And, next thing you know, I'm not meditating. I am, just finding any reason not to. Yet we know the benefits, right? And the times I have, achieved a meditative state, they're so enriching and fulfilling. And so I just loved this perspective of not resisting whatever arises. You just become the watcher, right? That is what it's another name for watching, witnessing, observing without judgment. And this is just like we were talking earlier. It's like, you mean there's nothing I've got to do? I can't get it wrong. I don't have to worry, fear that something's not going to work or I'm going to do it wrong. I mean, it's what's funny about all this stuff. It's never adding anything to you. It's like your ascension, awakening process is about removing the blocks that are. It's not so much adding. I need to add this to me or add that to me. Really, it's about how do I remove the obstacles, And it makes me think of and of course, everything is love, and it makes me think of the Rumi quote. And we'll end it with this for today. Rumi said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." So when you're judging yourself about what you should or shouldn't do in any given moment, whether meditation, whether life, whether anything, any situation, you're putting up a wall, right? A barrier to yourself. A barrier between you and your higher self, your true self, your authentic self. So with that, I'm going to leave you, lovely listeners, today. Hope you make a magical moment wherever you are. Don't judge what arises. Next time you meditate, try just observing and letting it be, whatever it is. See if a meditative state arises from lack of resistance, lack of trying to do, right? I have an appropriate song here, a wonderful song by one of my favorite all-time artists. This is Sting, Fortress Around Your Heart. That's what we're doing, right? We're taking down these barriers, taking down the fortress around your heart. Until next time, journey well. Love you all. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Truce, no cries of pity. Siege guns have been pounding through the night. It took a day to build the city. We walked through its streets in the afternoon. As I returned across the fields I'd known, I recognized the walls that I'd once made. Had to stop in my tracks for fear of walking on the to